Knights Media Network. I'm Casey Huff. I'm here with Delaney Fuller. Will you just explain what you do at Bellarmine, your job, and what you do here?
Okay. I am a graduate assistant here, and I work with the Housing and Residence Life Office. So I handle a lot of the daily business that happens with our RAs. I do like Haunted Pasture. I was in charge of that this year. I helped plan Hall of Treats. It's like a weird mix of event planning and just like daily running of the department, so it's interesting.
Yeah, so I'll just, since you brought up Haunted Pasture, that was last Thursday.
Yes.
So just kind of explain like what Haunted Pasture is. Just like briefly explain it for people that don't know.
So Haunted Pasture is Bellarmine's very own haunted house. We've been doing it for, I don't even know, like maybe over 10 years now. It's like a really big thing. We do it in Pasture because it's our oldest building on campus. I think it was our very first building on campus. So it just already has a bit of that spooky vibe, and then you just have a bunch of kids go in there and decorate it, and it's always a lot of fun.
I love that. So what kind of planning and preparation goes into that event?
A lot of it is just like, this year we did weekly meetings. I had maybe 25 people that were there for the whole time, and it's a lot of like collaborative planning. So I was more of like a structure piece. It was like more like, let's guide you to do this, and I would help them pick like the theme. Like this year it was aliens and ghosts, which was a very fun theme. And it was a lot of like, okay, we can't really do this, but let's try and like restructure that and do it some other way. So it's very much focused on student planning, and then I'm just there to make sure that it's staying on course.
Yeah, so with all those students being involved with it, how do you guys get students to come be involved in that, and how do you kind of recruit people to do that?
Normally it is done sort of through RHA, which is the Residence Hall Association. This year we had a more active role with Res Life, and then our associate director, Jacob, sent out an email to all of our on-campus folks, and I had like a little interest form, so they just filled out the interest form. I looked through it, sent them an email. I was like, hey, we're gonna meet on this day, and then we're gonna chat about it.
Do you guys typically get like a good amount of students that want to get involved with it, or do you feel like you have to like recruit more, or do you feel like it's pretty easy to get people to volunteer?
I think it kind of depends on the year, because it is kind of more aimed at our first years for the most part, so it depends on like that class specifically. Like if they're more interested and involved, it's a little less work. If they're a little less engaged, then it's a little more work. So it's just kind of depending. This year it was actually a little bit easier. We sent out the interest form and we had like 70 people respond saying they were interested, so didn't have to do a lot of recruiting.
Yeah, so since it is like mostly student-led, sometimes I feel like that can bring up challenges with like schedules. So like, do you guys run into any issues when you're planning it, or do you feel like it goes pretty smooth?
For sure, we definitely do. I was introduced to something called When to Meet, so it's literally just like creating the time periods, and then I would send that out, and people would respond back with when they were free, and I would just pick whatever the most people were free, and we had the meetings then.
Yeah.
And then people who weren't able to meet those meetings, I just sent out quick emails afterwards, like, here, this is what we talked about, so you're still on task.
Yeah. For people who have never been to Haunted Pasture, what would you say they can expect? Like, do you feel like it's really scary? Do you feel like it's a little more like intro level? Like, what do you feel like they should anticipate when they go in?
I think, honestly, that we do a really good job of it. I don't think it's necessarily intro level, but it is pretty scary from what I've been hearing. I sat in the back of it when people were coming out this past time, and I heard more than a few people be like, oh, this is so much better than even some of the professional houses that I went to. I don't know if they were just saying that, but I'm taking it.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's fun. I went my first years here, and one of my like really good friends was the first person I saw, and like so I was like, oh, this won't be very scary, because I was like, I know him, but then the rest of it I was freaked out. So I think it's a good mix. Like, I'm not a big haunted house person, but like it's a good mix between everything. What's your favorite thing about Haunted Pasture?
Honestly, I absolutely love like day of putting it together. It's so stressful at first, but like you get to see everyone putting their ideas together, making it come to fruition, and then when you turn out the lights, you're like, oh my god, it looks so amazing. And you just like, I'm so proud of everyone this year because they did such a good job. And that is my absolute favorite part.
Yeah. Do you guys have any sort of adjustments that you guys want to make for next year's Haunted Pasture, or do you feel like you guys had a pretty successful year?
I think we did pretty good. I am graduating in May, so I won't be helping with it next year, but I think that our associate director was talking about potentially trying to get RSOs involved next year, maybe being like, hey, if you like want to participate, you can get service hours or something. And then you can come take a room and you can decorate it for yourself and like kind of get it more involved like that.
Yeah.
Just to get more upperclassmen involved too.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot of fun. I also want to talk about the other event that you guys have had, which was last night, which was Hall of Treats. So just can you also just like briefly explain that for people that don't know what it is?
So Hall of Treats is our more community-based event for Res Life. So like Haunted Pasture is more for the campus, and then Hall of Treats is like, okay, Bellarmine's hugely focused on our community. So we have a trick-or-treating path in the Sienna complex, and it's open to anyone that's in Louisville. They can come in. There's candy graters on the floors. There are activities you can do. We had a bounce house this year. Like, it's a lot of fun. It's super like kid friendly. It's for our community to come in and like get to know our students some more, really.
Yeah, I love that. So since that's more community based, I feel like there's a lot more that goes into it, a lot more like factors. So like, how do you all plan and prepare for that big event?
Well, I have to give my flowers to Michael, who is our area coordinator for the Siennas, because this is his baby. I have never seen someone so like razor focused on something before, but he's got like spreadsheets and he assigns us to things, and he's very much like we're gonna get this done and it's gonna get done, and it's done really well so far. So lots of spreadsheets, lots of like, here's what you have to do. I was in charge of activities this year, so it's all very like partitioned.
Yeah. How do you guys kind of like, I know it gets decorated, like how does that kind of look?
So for the actual floors, that's mostly done by our RAs. They start doing that like the weekend before, and they'll start putting up the streamers and little stuff, and then the night before and day of, they'll put out the foam, which is like the characters that we've drawn and things like that. They're literally massive foam pieces, so they have to wait. But they go up like the day before, and it's a little hectic, but the RAs get it done. And then the day of is when you have like the pro staff, the RAs. We ask for volunteers to help with this too, and that's when they go out and they decorate the rest of the Arboreto area. And that is part of the reason why it looks so amazing.
Yeah. So students can volunteer to work the event. Like, what different things can they kind of sign up to do?
So we have a bunch of different roles for that. We've got people that can sign up just to help with tear down and cleanup, which is at the end of the event. You've got some people who are just there to help set up. During the event itself, you can volunteer to be a candy greeter, which is just like sitting out in the halls giving out candy. I'm trying to think of all the roles. There's so many. You've got like activity stations that you can be in charge of, and just a bunch of things like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you all like dress up for this? Like, do people like come in like in costume or?
We encourage our staff to dress up. Like this year, all of the pro staff did dress up. I think 3 of us were in onesies, so that was fun. We had a Care Bear, a dragon, 2 sharks, and a Beanie Baby. Yes. And then our staff were dressed up as a variety of different things. So
that's so fun. I know you guys like get your candy donated because I know you have to have a lot. So like, how do you guys get people to donate, and kind of like who donates it and things like that?
So this year, our senior RAs were in charge of that, and it's a lot of like taking the RAs and going through the halls and like door knocking and be like, hey, we have this event going on. Do you have any candy that you can donate, or would you like to do anything like that? We have like a little competition for it, so whichever floor like raises the most, you get something for that. I can't remember off the top of my head, and like the top person was supposed to get like prime, what is the word? Registration for your classes for the next year or something like that.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. See, that's like, I feel like that's a good motivator, because it's like, why would you want to donate candy? But I feel like that would be something that would motivate me. Do you guys feel like you have any specific challenges you run into since you're planning an event with the community, or is it still pretty smooth and kind of established?
I think when it was first happening, because we took a break off because of COVID, so like the next 2 years afterwards, we were a little like trying to figure it out again. Now it's very smooth. We know what we're doing. We've got like an idea of it, and we can just go out and do it. So even with like the community aspect of it, you're very much like okay, we know who we can go to and like talk to at this point, so it works out.
Yeah, I know I went a couple years ago and there was this little girl like running around and she had a little Elsa costume and she would run up and she'd like, I'm Elsa. And it's just, I think it's the sweetest thing. I love like the kids getting to come and like run around Bellarmine.
We had a couple people running around as axolotls this year and I was like, you're so cute.
Yes, I love like little kids and like their costumes because they're always so excited about it. Well, since you're graduating in May, what is like you think your favorite memory working for Res Life?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Wow. Honestly, I have to say RA training just because it's long, it's 2 weeks, but it's like 2 weeks of like getting to know my new staff and like talking to them and kind of commiserating because I was an RA when I was an undergrad here. It's like being like, yeah, I know it's kind of rough, but also like it's setting you up for the next year. It's a lot of fun. You get to have like built-in friends essentially with this job and just like, I don't know, something about that like people aspect of it. I just love it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, good luck. Thank you for coming on today. I hope the rest of your year goes well, and thank you guys for watching.